Okay, so someone tell me what you did for your homework last week. What did you fix or improve for your licensing visits?
Well, for us, we had a couple of teachers who they get overwhelmed with the amount of toys that end up on the floor.
Okay.
And so instead of, following our schedule, because if you follow the schedule, the room doesn't get crazy all the time. They would just turn the shelves in so that the kids could not get to the toys. And so we have, asked them several times to not do that. But this time we were like, okay, this is it. We're not telling you again. You will be written up. If we see these shelves turned in. And there's a number of things that they can do in order to not be so overwhelmed. One of the classrooms just has too many toys. It's too much stimulation. And I'm like, why do we have these many toys? I mean, they could have a third of the toys and still have every shelf filled with toys.
There you go. And they can rotate through, right?
And rotate.
Absolutely. Exactly. Very good. You're like, I am not getting written up over what you're doing.
And I keep asking you to do
it. Yeah. Okay, good one. So did they take to it? Are they doing okay?
Yep.
Fantastic.
Okay.
That feels pretty good. Look, you just knocked a violation off of your report. Just like that. Okay, Courtney, your hand is up. What do you have to share?
So, hi. I am still working full-time teaching, but I scheduled my licensing inspection for May 16th, and I have 3 clients coming this weekend, potential clients. Yeah, and I already have a wait list, so that was a big deal. And then for licensing purposes, I've gotten like all my folders ready to get the clients with all their documents and everything, and I ordered t-shirts for myself. With my logo. I feel like such a weird, silly, like cheese ball, but and yeah, so things are coming together because we're getting up and running. But for licensing purposes, there's very little. There's like a very short list of things before the inspection that I need to just tweak really quick. But yeah, so
that's exciting. Yeah. Before this class is done, you could very well be licensed.
Yeah, I'm working full time, so I was like, I gotta take a day off, or so I thought it would be June, but things came together faster than I thought. So I have a teacher work day on May 16th, and I'm working from home. So I was like, hey, come on. So I'll be doubling that day.
Perfect. Does anyone else have something to share? Carol, go ahead.
I've got my picture off because I'm stuffing my face. Can you hear me? Okay. So I decided to go with a new childcare management software. And I spent 4 hours downloading every item that I needed, all of my forms, my enrollment, set up my families. And all the child files are in there, and in doing that, I had to scan them into the computer anyway. So now they're filed, and I figured out how I wanted to file them, and I have them on a external drive in my safe.
Nice.
I've been trying to do this for 2 years.
And was the software ELV or was it something else?
It was something else.
Okay. All right. Great. Anyone else have something they're desperate to share? Or if not, we're going to introduce you to someone that you're really going to like to hear from. Okay, Nancy, that means it's you. So Nancy is amazing. And guess what? You can schedule a consultation with her free. anytime through the SBDC. So as you're listening to her and getting ideas and stuff, think about scheduling with her, okay? All right, it's all yours.
Oh, wow. With that build up, I think I'm going to like go blank. Okay.
Not you, not a chance.
Not a chance. Okay. So, and I've been talking all day, so I apologize. It's like, I should have taken a laundry before we started. But we're going to talk about marketing today. We're going to talk about this whole, how many of you are real comfortable in doing sales? Can everybody tell me, give me an idea how you feel about sales? Okay. Oh, Courtney, no, Courtney, you're a natural. I'm telling you right now, no, I'm telling you right now, you're a natural. Okay. You can just tell your exuberance and your energy is catching. And people connect with that. So yay. Okay. But it's true that oftentimes, you know, I was in sales in another life. But marketing is different than sales. Okay. And so tonight we're going to talk about this whole idea of marketing in the childcare industry, but a little broad too. So let me share a screen here because we have a lot to cover today and I want to stay on time. All right. Hang on just a second. I want to be able to. Okay. So here's the deal, guys. Silence gets you no bonus points. Okay. Unanswered questions give you no bonus points. Okay. So I don't mind, and I always have Hannah remind me because I get carried away and I can't see the hands going up or whatever. So if we're talking about something, raise your hand. Okay. And we'll get that question answered to the best of our ability. Okay. Because if you're like me, I'll think if I wait till the end, guess what? I've just forgotten all the questions I thought I was going to ask. All right. So please feel free to ask. So we're going to start this, not actually with marketing. I'm going to spend a few minutes here talking about this entrepreneurial mindset and what does it mean? How many of you, for most of your life, and you can just, you know, raise your hands or whatever, how many for most of your life were employees? That's usually most of us, is it not? Okay. Employees think very differently than business owners. And you have to embrace that. Because if you stay in the employee mindset, it will not serve you well. So let's talk about that for just a minute. Here's one of my favorite definitions of entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship is the recognition and pursuit of the opportunity without regard to the resources you currently control, with the confidence that you can succeed, with the flexibility to change course as necessary, and with the will to rebound from setbacks. Small business owners are resilient because you will get punched down. You will have days where you're going, and I decided to do this because why? Right? So understand that the ability to get up in the morning and face the day with the same energy that you had maybe the day before, because that's what your clients require. That's what you said you would deliver. And it is the energy or the passion, if you think about it, is passion drives us. Let's face it. We can talk about, you know, passion says we're doing this because I'm assuming most of you are doing this because you love children. You want to have a business that will work with your lifestyle. You want to have certain financial goals that you want to attain. Okay. That's all part of this. But understand, if you do not have the confidence in yourself to do it, That confidence shows everywhere. Even if we don't say it, because you can recognize it. This is called body language. We see it all the time. We see when someone's not, when it doesn't feel confident, right? You have to be your first believer, because if you cannot believe in yourself, how do you get clients to believe in you on a regular basis? So this internal part is really, really important. And often we don't talk about it. We just talk about the things to do, not this piece that is the driver of why we do this, okay? So the biggest killer of the entrepreneurial mindset is not what you expect. It's not failure in the economy. It's doubt. It's in ourselves and our surroundings and our abilities. We've spent the last, Hannah knows this, we've spent the last 2 years, okay, dealing with the aftermath of COVID. And in the beginning, when everything shut down, our calendars filled up beyond, okay, to help people who were in business and they were seeing they believed their businesses would die. Okay, they believed everything they'd worked for was gone. And we had probably 4 weeks of that, which was real awful. And then there started coming in help. And then we spent the next, I don't know, year or year and a half, I don't know how long it was, it's all a blur now, helping people recover and helping people find those funds, use those funds, change their business, because their business model no longer worked the way that it had before. So I can tell you, I had some people who said, I'm just going to wait this out until it goes back to whatever normal is. Other people said, wow, this is not good. Okay, now what? And those are the people who took loans from the government or help from the government in some way, shape, or form, or other entities, or everything that was going on. And they took that money and they reinvested it into getting them in a better financial situation. And also for restaurants, they changed their menus, they started delivery, they started takeout, all of these kinds of things. And those are the survivors you see today. A lot of the people that I worked with through the crisis are actually in better shape today than they were before COVID started. So this is what's going to happen. The people who said, you know, the economy is failing, they can't serve me, I don't know what I'm going to do. They said, no, I'm going to persevere. I'm going to move forward and do what it takes to make it happen. But often we have this little voice in our head. And she is actually called, I'll give her a name. She's called Sally or Sam Self-Doubt. Okay, she lives in our head and she's been there since we were born. Now, we became more aware of her as we got older. And in the voice, she's, oh, you can't do that. You can't, a parent says, geez, she says, a child says, I want to take ballet lessons. And her dad inadvertently, teasingly says, oh, Sylvia, you're so clumsy. You could never be a ballerina dancer. Okay. What has just happened to the language in her head, in Sylvia's head? So it starts early and it's always there. But here's the kicker. We get to determine how much real estate we're going to give Sally or Sam self-doubt. That is what we get to choose. So sometimes when you're feeling overwhelmed or you're feeling that you don't want to face another day, or gee, it's only Monday and Friday's a long way off kind of thing, right? All of those things. Okay, remember who you are, remember what your purpose is, and tell Sally or Sam to shut up because they are not your friend. So that's a personal piece of advice there. So think about that. the entrepreneurial mindset, things stand up and just say, okay, that's a challenge. That's not a death knell. It's just a challenge. Oftentimes it makes us very inventive. Desperation does make us inventive. Okay. And we turn around and say, how can we do that better? How can we save money by less waste? How could, what are the things we could do? You were just talking about a solution to the toy situation. So it could either be, oh my gosh, they're doing it wrong, or they're going to continue to do it wrong. Or, yes, I'm going to write you up, but however, here's the solution and let's make it happen. Right? So again, think about that. You have to be decisive. Sometimes in business, you can mess yourself up because you never make a decision. Because you're so afraid that A and B are both, you look at A and B and C and you go, wow, they could be good, but they could be bad. And you lead with the bad, which causes you to do nothing. And then you miss opportunities. You miss the opportunity to apply for a grant because you were afraid to have to write it. You were afraid of the process. Be decisive. I'm going to go to the Nike logo. Just do it. Okay. And you won't die from it. I promise. You just won't. You're not going to die from it. Okay. You will probably feel much better about yourself because you accomplished something that you didn't think you could do. And you become a believer in who? You. Accept responsibilities for outcomes. If it gets messed up and you're the owner, guess where that comes to? That's what you assume. One of the things, I came from corporate America originally. And looking back, sometimes it was kind of nice to have a lot of departments, because if something went wrong, you could say Dan did it and he was in the other department, right? But now you look around and you're only one standing. Okay, so it makes it a little more difficult to do that. But own up. Yeah, you made a mistake. Now what? Most mistakes aren't terminal. And if they're not terminal, you can deal with it. So continue to learn. You're in a class now. Okay, what I would say to you, and I have a bias here, okay, because I'm an educator. So that's my background. So what I'm going to say to you is, as a business owner, you need to become a continuous learner, and not just about childcare, about running a business. Okay, because you guys have a lot of rules and a lot of licenses and a lot of processes that you guys all have to go through to get there. That's childcare. Keeping your doors open, being successful in attaining your financial goals, that's business. And so you need to get really comfortable with your numbers. You need to get really comfortable with your marketing strategy. You need to get comfortable if you're hiring people. You need to get comfortable with HR stuff. Okay, I came from HR and training originally. Okay, so you need to know what those are and how to follow them. Lucky for you guys, we have a consultant that can help you with HR. We have people that can help you with sales and marketing. I do some marketing, but I do a lot of business planning, strategy, how to get to my goals kind of stuff. So again, you guys have you have this bank of people, okay, that are your resource board that can help. They won't make a decision for you, but they can give you that. You might try this, you might try that, weigh decisions, kind of thing. The important thing to understand there is you don't have to do this alone. And the more you guys make connections with each other, you build your support staff, your emotional support staff. Okay, nobody understands the business better than you guys. So again, suffering in silence is never an option. Okay, it's something to think about from that step. And just move. Just move. being paralyzed is not an option. Well, it is an option. It's just not a really good one. Okay. So we're going to talk about marketing plans. You have to give people a reason to choose you. Because in reality, you represent the business. I know some of you have centers and some of you are doing your home, doing it in your home. The marketing piece is the same for each of you. Who you talk to and how you talk to them and how you talk to your audience may change a little bit different. Okay. But you all have the same issue. You guys all want a full house, right? Is that not the goal? Okay. You want to have a waiting list. Okay. You want people waiting to break down your door. Okay. Because guess what? When you have people wanting to break down your door to come to your school, who sleeps better at night? You do, right? So marketing starts with an awareness. Oftentimes in business, we call it the awareness channel. I can't buy from you if I don't know you exist. I may choose a less product because I didn't know you were out there, right? So how do you create this awareness channel that you can continue to do over and over and over and repeat if it works? If you find what you're doing isn't working, guess what you do? You pivot, you adjust. I always tell people their middle name is pivot. I don't care what middle name their mother gave them. You go into business, your middle name is pivot, because you are going to have to change constantly and adapt, because your market and your clients and the economy, all those things are subject to change. And a lot of it you don't have control over, but you do have control over how you react to those challenges. So, truth number 2, you have to give me a reason to choose you above the competition. If I already have my children in a facility of some sort or childcare, asking people to change is not that easy. Even when we don't like where we are, it's amazing how our human brains work. I had DirecTV for years and I hated it. I just hated it. I complained about it all the time. And finally, it was one of my sons who said, okay, let's change this stuff. Okay, and let's do it. You pick up the phone and you call and you check and find a better deal and move. I didn't want to go through the process of, I have to change this. I just didn't want to deal with it, but I was okay complaining. So there's a lot of people who may not like their particular situation, but they're afraid they're going to like their choice worse. And so they stay because they think, I'm going to go with Xfinity and it's going to be worse. And I went through all of that and here I am, right? So you have to give people a reason to say it is worth me doing the change, because you are going to get X value from me that you're not getting here. Okay, and then you have to live up to that. But that you have to get people to change. If you're dealing with people who are newly moving into the market, new baby or child, or just moved to Denver or whatever it is, they're worried they're not going to choose the best place. They're worried they're going to make a mistake, because as parents, none of us want to make a mistake with the guardianship of our children, right? And so it's a very heavy decision, and that you need to let them know it's a big decision and that you want it to be right for them. If it's right for them, it'll be right for you. So you're going to have to start thinking about, why would they choose me? And we'll talk about this, but why would they choose me over the guy right down the street? Okay, why is that reason? So there's three parts when we talk marketing, when we talk business. I do a lot of business planning. So when we talk business planning, what goes into a business plan or a business strategy when it comes to marketing? And there's actually three parts. There's the plan. So the plan, you guys get to figure out because you're the boss. So you need to determine to yourself and write it down. How many, what is my financial goal or enrollment goal or whatever it is, year one? What is mine for year 2 and year 3? Those are only milestones. Those are goals. They need to be attainable, but you need to push yourself. You know what I mean? You get that little space where you don't want to make it too easy so everybody gets an A, okay? But you want to push yourself a little bit. What are they? Nobody's going to see these unless you unless you're going for a loan for a bank or something, and then they will, okay? But what are your goals? One of the things I always ask anyone I usually talk to is what are your personal financial goals with this business? If you say to yourself, and I'll make this up, if you say to yourself, I would feel happy, I would feel this is worth me doing, and I don't know what the numbers are, but I'll just make them up, $60,000 a year. After everything's paid for, after everything's taken care of, this is what's coming to me to help my own personal household. Okay, you guys have to design a plan that will get you there. Because otherwise, some of you will end up with an expensive hobby, and you don't want to do that. So you want to be really smart with this, and a key part of that is your marketing. So, got the plan, this is our goals, and then the strategy goes into understand. A lot of you, if you're already in business or you're using it from your home, okay, what are the demographics? What are the demographics around you? What are the demographics? Are there businesses or office spaces or a company, okay, nearby so that people could drop off their children on the way to where they work, right? What is that demographic? What is the demographic of the people that live around you? Okay, is it an older neighborhood that has fewer kids? Okay, or fewer kids, and then you're gonna look at businesses, okay? Because it's different. You have to look at where you are and truly understand the demographics. And we have all kinds of tools that can help you do that. But this is what we call market research. And part of that strategy is also looking at your competitors and doing a competitive analysis. If that means calling mystery shopping, it's mystery shopping. If that means sending a friend in with their kid to do mystery shopping, that's fine too. Okay, what are they doing? If you tour their school, what does it look like? Or if your friend tours the school, what were her impressions? What stood out to her as a mom and what didn't? Because that's the best market research you can get, is from people who would actually use these services. Because those are the impressions that tell them that stood out to me, that whatever, I'm just making it cleanliness or friendliness or how they greeted us at the front door, or the packet they gave us when we left had so much information in it. I felt all my questions got answered. Okay, those are the things that people remember. I expect, as a parent in this case, that if I leave my child will be well taken care of, will not be ignored, will be clean and have a good time, whatever I expect. I expect that. That gets you guys a C, because I expect that from childcare. What gets you an A and B is how you make me feel. How you make me feel about how my child was taken care of. If my child is so happy or can't wait to get back to see you, now I'm more bought in. And that makes me stay. That makes me stay if you have to raise your prices. That makes me loyal. It's about how we feel, especially when it comes to our children. But expectations, all those things, the rules and stuff like that, I expect those. But connect with me, connect with my child. Not only do you have a good client, a good customer, you probably have someone who is ever asked who are they going to recommend to their friends. That's how you get waiting lists, okay, to move you forward. And then there's the tactics piece. The tactics is social media, flyers, whatever it is, okay? That is the last thing you do, not the first thing. It is the last thing. If you're on social media, you're not on 10 social media sites, okay, or whatever it is. You're on 1, 2, possibly 3. If flyers work in your neighborhood, that's what you're going to use, okay? So don't get too crazy about the tactics, because you want to be able, whatever ones you choose, you want to have the time to do them well. And one of the things that happens with social media is consistency. And if I'm split in too many ways, guess what's hard for me to do? Consistency. Because it becomes a real chore and it becomes overwhelming. So questions about this part? Questions so far, comments, thoughts? I really get upset when nobody talks to me.
These guys are a quiet crew. Like they still, usually by week 3, we're in good shape on this, but they just need to like, don't raise your hands,
girl.
just
All
talk.
right. Give me a break. All right. So the style of marketing today, in today's world, is what we call customer-centric marketing. If you ever had the opportunity to watch Mad Men or any of the stuff that happened in the 50s and 60s or in the 60s, okay, a lot of advertising at that time was driven from top down. It was driven from the companies, the advertising agencies, to tell you what you should do. So if you look in the history books or see an old video, okay, we used to have something called the Marlboro Man, okay, and he was a cool cowboy, and he was really cute, and he looked very masculine at the time for that deal. He always had a cigarette out of his mouth, and the idea was, if I have this cigarette, I'm really cool. That was the underlying message. Buy these cigarettes, you'll be cool. It's important to note that I think there were 4 Marlboro men and they all died of lung cancer, but we'll move on from that. So point B is it was really directed. Now the customer is the center, not here, but it's out here. So your marketing strategy is whatever your plan is to attract ideal customers. How many of you want bad customers? Anybody? How many of you want the customer from hell? Okay. So I'm just saying they exist. I have heard. Okay. So when you have these meetups, if there's warning signs that this person may I'm going to say be high maintenance, they might not be the best fit for you. Why buy into trouble if you don't have to, right? So your brand strategy is, what is your promise? What is your promise to this parent? If I say I'm going to deliver X, if Amazon says my package will be here in 2 days and it doesn't get here for 5, who's an unhappy camper? One of the things that Amazon got really good at is you buy it and they let you track it and they tell you where it's at and they tell you it's coming at a certain time and blah, blah, blah. They keep you what? In the loop as to what is happening. So think about what people care about today and how they are used to being communicated with. It's not, it's not how you like to be communicated with. It's how they like to be communicated with. So it's all here, not here, which is really hard to do. So then after you have your brand strategy, what do you stand for? What's important? What's 1, 2, 3 of your values, whatever they are. Then what is your strategy? And it could be a digital strategy. There's things in childcare that aren't necessarily digital, okay? But it's how are you going to communicate that promise? So how are you going to do it through social media? Are you going to do it through the material that you hand them when they leave? Are you going to do it in what your presentation begins with? We usually tend to begin with the most important thing, not the least. That's when people pay attention and they start kind of not paying so much attention. So how are you going to communicate that promise? How are your employees going to communicate your promise? If you have employees, they need to be the same message, right? It needs to be totally congruent. And then from a strategic side, how are you going to deliver that? What are the things you're going to have to do on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis to make that happen? So it gets divided out. So effective marketing is not an option, it's a necessity. Okay, it's not something you can ignore. And as we said earlier, a marketing plan comes before a marketing strategy. What are your goals? How many kids do you have to have? But what happens if you're 3/4 less than what you have? What does that do to your financials? Okay, understanding your financials is also a big piece of this as well. But the first thing you're going to do is you're going to identify your target market. So if you have babies or you have 3 to 5-year-olds, you need to be targeting the areas that are most filled with those people who are having them. If your target area is in, again, I'm going to make this up, but if your target area is where they have 55 plus neighborhoods, that's probably a problem, right? So you really want to look at your targeted neighborhood. Who needs you? And then you come up with what we call this the unique selling proposition. But when you think about it, it's something that people can remember. This is what oftentimes this is taglines. How many of you know different taglines that companies have used, okay, over the years? Okay, so I always give the example of, we own 2 businesses, but I'll give you an example of one of them. And one of them is an accounting company. Now, I'm not the accountant, so do not ask me QuickBooks. Okay, that's not my role. So, but it's my business partner and our employees. But when we started and when we went to name our business, we thought about what were our long-term goals. And one of the things that we don't do taxes. So we're not CPAs, we're accountants and bookkeepers. And we did not, we wanted to be different because we work with small business. A lot of small business owners are afraid of who? The numbers people. They're afraid of the accountants. They're afraid of the bookkeepers. They're afraid of the CPAs because they're afraid they're going to walk in and the CPA is going to go, you did what? And what were you thinking or whatever? And we make in our head, right? So we didn't want to be the stereotype. Stereotype is these guys can't can't speak out of it. Totally like bland, like, robotic, right? They're really good with numbers, but relationships is not their thing. Okay, and that's a stereotype. It's not always true. Okay, but we didn't want to be that stereotype. So we ended up naming the company Apis Business Solutions. That doesn't even say what we do. Okay, Apis means is Latin for honeybee. Our logo is a bee that has no stinger. Our tagline is, we take the sting out of accounting and bookkeeping. Because that's what people are afraid of. And then when we were building the business and we would go to different events, be it chambers or different shows or whatever, we would have, for instance, we took sticks of honey and we put them through, we made 2 holes in our business cards. We pushed them through and we give people a stick of honey. We would have people that would call us a year later and say, I've had that sitting on my desk for a year, and now I know I really need you. You want to make yourself memorable. So look at taglines. Look at what you can look this up, taglines of companies, and it will come up all over the place. And look how they took their message and they succinctly put it down into a couple of words that people could what? Remember. It can be really, really effective. So quickly, and as Dawn knows, we do 9 and 10 weeks class on this stuff. So this is quickly. I want you to think about why people buy, or just as importantly, why they don't. Why do they choose you? So the first thing you have to think about with your client is what is keeping them up at night. What are their fears? What are their concerns? What are their dreams? What are their hopes? Okay. This empathy map is what we call, you just do sticky notes, but you start thinking about how a parent feels when they take their child to daycare. Okay. What do they think? What have they been hearing from friends? And usually from friends, they only hear horror stories, right? We always tell the horror stories. We never remember the good stuff, right? So what are they hearing from their friends? The friend, so now that's either a fear or a concern kind of thing. And you go through, what do they see in the environment? We've got a lot of stuff going here. We got a lot of worries, right? And that boils down into how we feel about a lot of things. If we're anxious about out here, we're going to be anxious about things in here, because that's just how it fits, right? So but you boil it down to the things that are really important is this pain and gain. We buy to either relieve a pain or get a perceived gain. And sometimes it's both, okay? It's just a twist on how it's presented. So the way I always explain this, and Dawn's heard this story ad nauseum, okay, is several years ago, or not that many, but quite a few years ago, I was born and raised in California. We've been here for 26 years or something. But in California, I went to the same schools, kindergarten to high school, with schoolmates in Orange County, California. And so I knew them all. I knew their parents. We knew each other. It was just, we knew each other. So I have friends on Facebook that were my kindergarten friends. So one of my kindergarten friends said, guess what? Buena Park High School is having their reunion. Wouldn't it be great if you came back to the reunion? And what I'm thinking to myself is, oh dear, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to, and I haven't seen those people forever. I don't want, no. And then she said, oh no, it'll be fun. We'll have a girls' weekend. I'll invite Janet and blah, 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 and we'll hang out. And then we'll, you can see your mom and brothers and just be girls' weekend. It'll be fun. And so fine, I'm thinking, what I'm thinking underneath all this conversation is she's talking to me in February. This reunion is not until August. What I'm thinking underneath that is I've got time to lose 35 pounds. That's what I'm thinking, because I'm thinking everybody that I went to school with looks the same as when I left them. Okay. But I haven't seen them for 30 years. Okay. So here we go. All right. So I say, okay, fine. I do it. So I buy the plane tickets and I sign up for the reunion. And then life goes on. And then all of a sudden it's August. Guess what? I have not lost 5 pounds. In fact, I probably gained 5. I don't know. Yeah. And so now I'm in a panic because I can't lose 35 pounds in 2 weeks. It is just not possible. Okay, so now what? So my second solution was I'm at the store, because we're going to do this barbecue thingy jiggy before we go to the football game for homecoming or whatever. And I hate jeans. I hate wearing jeans. I hate the whole process of jeans. Okay. So now I'm at the store and I'm looking at the line of jeans and I'm looking at all the tags. And finally I see a tag that says, wow, this material of these particular jeans, it's made by something they discovered on the moon. And you put these on and you look 15 pounds slimmer. I'm in. I don't care about price. I don't care about anything except, wow, I found my solution. So I go, I try them on. I think, okay, they fit. Okay, they don't look so terrible. Okay, and I go home. I've been married a really long time. He knows the drill. So I'm showing him all the stuff I bought to go on my trip. And now I'm in my jeans and he looks at me and he says, wow, honey, those look really nice. Have you lost some weight? Score. Okay, the man's been trained well. So I'm feeling okay. So now I go to the reunion and I found out everybody just looks like me and we had a great time and it was wonderful. Okay. However, I was not buying jeans, people. I was buying confidence. I'm willing to pay more for confidence than I am for a regular pair of jeans. Right? So emotion drives a lot of what we do. So how do you position what you do that's either going to make my life as a mom easier, more convenient, safer, I don't care what it is, okay? Or how are you going to relieve a pain? How are you going to make it easy for me to communicate with you? How is it going to make it easy for me to know what's happening with my kids? How are you, all of those things. Because you can relieve pain by saving time, saving people money, right? Saving people frustration, saving people from suffering from anxiety. Start thinking about why you buy things and what goes through your process when you're determining, do I want to buy this or do I want to buy this one? What is really driving it? What is the emotional piece of that? Because we're usually drawn by gain or fear. I mean, that's just how the human being works. So what is your what is going to be your marketing message? What is going to be in your presentation when new clients come in or new possible customers come in? What are you going to emphasize on your tour? Because you know that it's a value to this particular type of client. Okay. But it's really very, very emotional. So we just talked about this, but here's the gains and pains. So customer jobs is everything they want to get done. They want their kids taken care of. They want it convenient for them to do whatever that list is, right? You've got a list. Those customer jobs are also rated. So what do they care about most? Because that's the one you want to hit first, second, and third. So I used to work for AAA. So AAA's mission model, whatever you want to call the three things they talk about, everything comes back to safety, security, and peace of mind. So that's why they have travel services, they have insurance, you can buy a car from them, they give you roadmaps to make sure you didn't get lost on the road. All of that is safety, security, peace of mind. They do not have a business line that does not match those three things. Because they know that's what people care about when they travel, when they buy a car. We make recommendations of where to stay at a hotel. They want to stay someplace safe, right? They don't want to be robbed. They don't want, what is it, right? Safety, security, they don't get lost on the road. They want to make sure that if they break down, guess what? There'll be a tow truck coming to pick them up, okay? That is coming from a AAA representative, okay? The AAA controls, because they're looking for safety, security, peace of mind. It boils down to things as simple as that. So you turn those things, whatever their jobs are, into gains or pains. And then you look at your business and you say, how can my services, how can my services be a gain creator or a pain reliever? And the words I use, the presentations I make, whatever it is, feeds into that. Because now you're talking to people and they say, wow, they don't think it, they don't even say it sometimes, but it is, wow, they can handle this. It's a match. You want to have a match. I feel like we bonded. I feel like you really understood me. I feel I can trust you. How much do people pay for trust? So, remember these guys? Okay, these two Allstate campaigns were actually the highest rated campaigns for a very long time. And they both played on different stuff. One played on gain and one played on pain. So Mr. Goodhands, beautiful deep voice, very calming, right? And his whole message was, you're in good hands with Allstate. Don't worry, go on the road. Something happens, we're here. If your house burns down, we're here. You're safe, security, peace of mind, right? That was that campaign. And Allstate presented themselves as the answer to safety, security. We provide this. This is what we provide. This is what we're all about. Yes, we give you insurance, but what we're really providing you is safety, the belief that you will be taken care of. You have nothing to fear, okay? And then they came out with Mr. Mayhem Guy. I love Mr. Mayhem Guy, okay? Mr. Mayhem Guy, he was the guy you never wanted to see. He was the guy that was going to make your life so miserable, okay, you were going to pay. So he was about all the things that I get on the road. I say, oh, geez, I get on the road. If I get anxiety, oh, wow, I hope it's not too busy on I-25. You know, those people are driving like crazy right now. And they might hit me, or they might run me off the road, or I might drive too slow, or whatever it is. Okay. Something could go wrong. There are a lot of people who always go to what goes wrong rather than what goes right. That's why we call optimists and pessimists. It's kind of that thing, right? Most of us are a blend of some sort. But Mr. Mayhem said, hey, if you don't get Allstate and you don't get all these things covered, guess who's waiting to make your life miserable? And they did it in a very humorous, fun way. And again, one of the best insurance campaigns in the history of insurance campaigns. So who are you going to be? So part of this is looking at what do your customers care about? So what that means is you got to get out of your head, because what you care about is important, but it's not as important as what they care about. Because they may, think about this, they know you're licensed. They may not care about that, the license part, but they know you are, but it's not a driving factor for them. The driving factor may be something else, because licensing is an expectation. They're not going to any place to see anybody unless there are licensing in place. So that's that's the entry to get to play, is you're licensed. Okay. What do they care about? What goes through their heads? So now I'm going to need some participation here, because I can't do this by myself. Okay, so I want you to look at this flyer and tell me what it speaks to and what it doesn't speak to.
Come on, guys, help her out.
It speaks to diversity,
Okay.
but it does not speak to safety. It speaks to learning kind of because of the ABCs, but not thrilled about that or how close it ties.
And the rest, geez,
Goodness.
the rest is just, oh boy, this is hard. The rest is just information, right? Where are we located? These are the kids we take. Here's the perimeters, right? So it's informative, but is it really catching your attention is the question, right? So then look at this one. Now, don't have to always look at the words down there because they're fillers, but where's the difference here?
Stands out more.
How does
It's got real people, real children, not fake
real children, right?
It seems very informative, and I like that there's Spanish and English.
Well,
It has bullet points of what they are offering.
right
and
down here they say what they do, right?
Yeah.
Look at the first paragraph. Looking for a place where your child can learn and grow at their own pace. Okay, so not going to be put in situations that are appropriate for them to get to grow at their own pace. A place filled with adventure and where crafts fuel creativity. Do you seek an environment where your little one is safe to explore and discover? Look no further. Comments about that paragraph?
It's a great mission statement right off the bat, and it's nice so that it's in different colors, so it's eye-catching, and you see that first, even if the next verbiage overwhelms you, and you're still getting the main points across, and then the colorful bullet points at the bottom draw your eye down, and you see the full picture right off the bat.
And it's just one paragraph, right? And yet it speaks to, I want to know more. The fact that they are confident enough to say, look no further. How is that different than please come and leave your child with us? Right? You found it. Okay. Dorothy's got home. Okay. It's like, you have found us. You don't have to look any further because we are your answer. And then down in the corner, they have the information. Now, how would you find us and all of that? Okay. I also like the fact that they say we nurture the curiosity of each child so they grow in knowledge and in confidence of their capabilities. Because who doesn't want their child to be confident? Who doesn't want their child to feel that they're doing well? Right? How much of this is emotional? A good percentage, right?
Yeah.
And it's just a few difference in the words, where the other one was, this is what we do. This is where you can find this.
And that I have to say that the name of the place, We Care Daycare. I mean, that is, I love it. It's a wordplay that they care.
Because think about this, is your name should be something that people can remember, right? And I want you to think about why you remember the names of some companies and not the names of others. And a lot of times they don't even make sense. I mean, Uber doesn't tell you what they do, the name, right? But it's 4 letters. It's easy to remember, right? Lyft tells you what they do, but they spelled it differently. They spelled it like a elevator lift. We're going to take care of you. You don't have to lift anything. We're going to take you in the elevator from one destination to the other. All right, safely and secure. So really think about how you, and this goes to what you have on a website. This is what you are presenting on social media. This is what you do in flyers. Everything needs to be consistent. So if the colors are these colors, guess where those colors show up? Everywhere. That's what they call brand. Okay. You recognize and you associate, because we tend to be very visual by nature, and we pick up things visually. Okay. So want to give you just some really quick tips, and this will be available to you. So there's the Denver Public Library. Dawn, have you talked to them about that?
Nope.
Okay, so the lucky you guys, okay, oftentimes getting good market research is very expensive. You pay for those things, okay? However, the Denver Public Library system spends thousands and thousands of dollars on marketing research that nobody knows they have, that is totally available to all of you for free with your library card. And you only have to be a resident of the state of Colorado to go to any library in the system. The one downtown in Denver on 14th Street is the largest in the system. That means they have more money. That means they can buy more stuff, okay? They also have something that the other libraries do not have. Their 3rd floor before COVID was dedicated to business, and they have business librarians. These are the most wonderful, nerdy people you ever want to meet in your entire life, okay? And what you click this down, and Hannah will give this to you too. You click this and it will take you to where you can make an appointment online, because now all online, you'll make an appointment with a business librarian, okay? And you're going to tell them that you're working with the SBDC, okay? Because that makes you special. And it's called VIP service. They save slots for you guys, okay? So what will happen is you're going to describe, I'm in a childcare business. This is the area my center is in, or I'm looking at another area or whatever. Give them whatever information you want. And I'm looking for people who have children ages what, blah, blah, blah. Cool. They will contact you, set up a Zoom appointment, and then they will make sure you got your Zoom on, okay? And they're going to have done a little bit of research before they meet you. But what is even more valuable is they're going to show you how to use all of the databases So then you can play with those databases to your heart's content. So one of the things you can do is you can pick your area and you can say, I am looking for people in this area who are such and such age, such and such, if you want financial stuff, whatever, who have been searching basically for childcare, things that relate to childcare, be it toys, be it whatever kind of stuff. And then up pops names and addresses of all those individuals. Which means then you can do a Vistaprint postcard and make it really nice and pretty and colorful and all those kinds of things we just talked about. And you mail it only to those households. And you give them an incentive to come see you. A discount on the first week or whatever happens, I don't care. It can be anything you want. Okay. Point being is now you're only marketing to the people in that area that have what? Children.
Children.
And children of those ages. Do you know how much money you'd have to pay for that marketing list if you didn't know the library existed? We did. Early on, we paid for a marketing list that I know I paid $1,000 for it, and I know they got it from the library. I have never got over that. I am still upset. Okay. So again, use it. They're amazing in so many ways. Hannah will send you, if you guys haven't already received it, the IBIS World Report. IBIS is a worldwide global company that basically what they do is they collect industry data. And then they put them in these 35 to 55 page reports. Banks believe them. All lending institutions believe them. They say this industry did this last 5 years. We expected to do this 5 years. This is where it's growing. They do SWOT analysis, all kinds of stuff in there. They charge normally anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000 per report. However, your lucky day, the Colorado SBDC spends money for a membership, which means we can pull these reports and give them to who? You for free. So use it, start thinking like a business owner, all right? And then Hannah will also send you, if she hasn't sent you already, her and Dawn will send you the Colorado resource book. That's a 75-page PDF of every entity in business, not childcare, of how I keep my business in good standing. What do I do about taxes? What do I do about HR? They've got differences between independent contractors and employees, and some of the rules that the state of Colorado goes by in both of those areas. All that's in that 75 pages. It's written by the SBDC with the help of the state. So we're going to assume all of those things are correct in there, right? So that from running a business side, that book could be extremely valuable to you. So what you're going to do is you're going to look at this and you're going to say, what kind of marketing materials do I need to collect? Most people, again, when I hear about something, I get a flyer, I go and I look at their website. It doesn't have to be fancy, okay? But we just want to see how they present themselves, what they do. It's almost like a website's kind of like what a business card used to be. I want to know you're in business. And it really doesn't tell you that, but that's what we believe. Okay. Mm-hmm. So is it well written? Does it have misspelled words on it? Any of those things that would lead me to believe that there's not credibility there. If you're going to, are you going to do a promotion, first week test or whatever it is? Flyers, brochures. There's good, you can work on a brochure and then you can meet with us and we can go over the brochure with you and give you some feedback about where you might change it or adjust it, or geez, darn, you just did a perfect job. You really don't need us. Okay. So we have people who can help you with that. And then think of the packet that you're going to give people when they leave.
Yeah, I got a couple questions to ask you before this is over, so don't get off the
I won't,
computer,
I
Nancy.
won't, I won't. I'll make
Okay?
sure you're taken care of, Tess, okay?
Yeah.
So, and then are you gonna have referral programs? Are you gonna say, hey, if you bring somebody to us, right? Thank you. What's in it for me, right? So what are those? Make sure people know them. What is gonna be your social media campaign? If you're gonna have an open house or a grand opening, how are you gonna promote it and what are you going to do for that grand opening? And so forth. So, and then just real quickly, it's all about touch points. So when you have a business, everybody judges things by how people answer the phone. Are they prompt? Do they give me the information that I needed? Were they easy to reach? All of these are touch points that either make them closer to you or further away from you. Okay? Make sure your employees understand the importance of all of these touch points because they are your voice when they answer that phone, when they greet that parent, when the parent comes and picks up the child, whatever, they represent your company. And you need to make sure that you train them so they know what these are and why, not just, this is what you have to do. Why is this important? Well, it's important because it helps you keep your job, number one. But that's number two. Number one, because it's the right thing to do. So really think about what that is. So Tess, what are your questions?
Okay, I've been in business for 29 years. In 2019, either my helper or the volunteer mom screwed up. And I got shut down for a few months and it totally ruined my entire business because it was plastered on the front page and 90% of it wasn't true. And then my son got killed in February and I shut down for 2 years just because.
Because you couldn't get up in the morning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So March of this year, I reopened. I've got clients, but how do I rebuild my business so people quit worried about what happened in 2019 and focus on 2022?
Wow. So that might be worth a consultation. Okay. To talk
Okay.
about it in depth. Okay. I don't know that I can solve it in 3 sentences.
Okay.
But I think it takes a real strategy. I think, to be honest with you, Tess, I think something like that is something that maybe you start with me, but then you meet with either Mike Saunders or Peter Brissett, who are our marketing gurus, about the actual language of how to do that.
Okay.
Okay, because what you've got, I mean, you can't keep people from finding it. It is what it is, right? And so what's the strategy moving forward? Yeah, I think that'll take some work, but people have done it. I mean, it's not like it's impossible. It just needs to be how many kids do you need in your situation?
Just 8. I've got 4 full-time and 2 part-times, but I'm never having a helper again. Never will I have a helper again.
I'm wondering if those 4 people can be a really good referral base for you, where you actually incentivize them in some way to recommend your center.
That's how I got the 2 new kids, is from recommendations from the clients that I have now.
I'm going to guess, Tess, a lot of this is going to come from the people who like you, not the people who don't like you. Because if my friend recommends you, I believe my friend. I don't have to believe you. Okay, I'm trusting that my friend, who I trust, has my best interest at heart and is giving me, or they have their child there, or whatever it is. So you're not the salesperson, they are, if that makes sense.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any other questions? Nothing? You guys are so quiet.
You see the cross I carry.
Oh my goodness. You're gonna have to start giving bonus points and I used to do AAA hand out toys for
Yeah.
God.
I don't really have
If
a
we were in a
question,
room,
but I could
Go ahead.
comment.
Go for it.
This has been really interesting for me. The center that I work for, we're Nina Bees in the Highlands, and we are literally word of mouth completely from start to finish. We have done one marketing thing ever that, and I just so happened to like be available to be a part of it. We did a little tent at the Highlands, the Taste of Highlands, 8 years ago, and we just had a little bin of corn out that the kids could get into and play, and we just sat there and chatted with families about who we were and what we did. And gosh, we've had a year out waiting list ever since, and we really are word of mouth. And I really love how you talk about the touch points for employees. And you know, I hate to toot my own horn, but I feel like I really have been that for my center, because I meet so many people on our walks throughout the neighborhood and our time at the park. And you know, young parents will come up to me constantly and say, who are you? What are you a part of? What are you doing? And you know, I just live and breathe my center. I'm so all in that I'll give them all the information and talk it up completely.
You're their salesperson.
I guess I am unofficially, and it's
You
just
don't need to do marketing because you're their salesperson and others like you, right? Because they have done a really good job of including you into the success of the organization. Because employees who do not feel that they are invested do never go the extra mile.
Yeah.
They do what they have to do and then close the door. Okay.
Sure.
If I feel that I am and it's not always money. Again, remember I was in HR. Okay. This is the stuff we did. Okay. And any kind of survey of any kind, money was never number one. Now it might be number two, don't get me wrong. Okay. But it was never number one, because most of us want to enjoy where we work. And in your guys' business, word of mouth is like gold.
Yeah, it is.
Coming, understand the referrals coming from someone that person trusts. So they already expect, because it's in. And this whole idea of having a booth and getting people to see you and see who you are and see the colors and have places there where the kids can play and do whatever. They're like, oh my gosh, why do I have my kids over at Bozo school? Okay, where they cry every time I leave them, rather than run into the teacher's arms when they get there.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a little more on this slideshow that you guys can see, kind of thing. But the other thing I'm going to close with too is I want you to think about in this market research. If you live close to a large company, or you live close to several fairly decent sized companies or whatever, you make up brochures and you go into those buildings and you give them to the HR department. Because and say, would you mind putting these in your lunchroom? Okay, because they don't necessarily have to be where they drop their kid off next door. They may want to be closer to where they work, because they want to, in case of an emergency or any of those kinds of things, right? Want to be close to where their kids are, but they will not buy from you if they don't know you exist. And HR, think about it. HR wants to keep their employees happy and employed with them. Okay, they want them not to worry about what's happening with their kids. Okay, so it benefits HR to give this information. You say, hey, you know, person, Mr. HR, would love to have you come and do a visit, or one of your staff come and do a visit of what we do. Well, they send over somebody and they come back and say, oh, it's the cutest place, and they're just so friendly. And Victoria's like, I mean, the energy just flows out of her. Guess what ends up on the lunchroom tables? Those flyers. Guess what ends up in the company newspaper? Your information. Any other thoughts, guys? Yes, Courtney.
Hey, Nancy, can you stop screen share so we can see
Yes.
everyone?
I'm sorry.
Thank
I
you.
forget. I so forget that. I'm so,
Okay, Courtney, you're up.
Here.
I'm so bad.
I am a baby to all of this. I'm brand new, and I'm wondering, because I'm only gonna have 6, but I really wanted to start. I've got my daughter too, so I'm already possibly full, which I didn't expect. So I'm wondering, do I keep marketing? Because I honestly don't want to deal with the onslaught of emails and interviews, and so I didn't know if I should pause. I haven't really advertised a ton. Just go join some moms group, and I've got website.
I think you work on getting a waiting list.
Okay, so then do you still call them? Because I have a process of call, email, then you call me, then we maybe come in for a tour, and then you get the application if it's mutual. But I don't know that I want to do that for everybody if it's like a wait list. So they just call and they're on the wait list. Is that how that goes?
Let them know that you're glad to have them come by, but you have a wait list. Well, when you say you have a wait list, what have you just told them?
Yeah, but I'm saying
you are, because you're already got a wait list. Okay.
Yeah, I was just wondering, like, for marketing purposes, do I
love to put you on our
pause?
waiting list? Just say we'd love to put you on our waiting list.
Okay.
Always be marketing.
Always
Yeah,
be
but
marketing.
no, but like I don't have anybody that did all the paperwork because we're just now starting. But I'm like, I'm a little overwhelmed.
It
And
is.
I'm concerned that if I keep it this, I'm gonna have like a really deep wait list, and I'm a really small center, and then it's wasting people's time, right? Like if so.
No, not
So
necessarily.
Okay.
It's a lot easier when you have a wait list to part ways with someone where it's not working out too well, right? When
Okay.
you've got someone on that wait
Okay.
list that you can pull in.
Oh my God,
Okay.
because you know what? You don't want to live with customer from hell because you can't find.
Well, no, I'm screening them now. So
You know?
I'm already like, I got an exit strategy for one family already because I'm like, oh, you only want to do 3 days.
And that's,
I'm gonna do 5 only. Okay.
that's common, right? And
Yeah.
so do you have to do as much marketing as the center that can take 40 kids? No. Okay.
But I guess like what is too much, because I want to be responsive to emails, right? And I don't want to advertise if I truly don't have a spot. And so or do you guys still do that just to get your brand out there? I guess that's what I'm wondering for the group, or do you just
That's a great question to the group.
like do it seasonally, right? Like do it when you need to, or do it in anticipation of needing to, or if you're a brand new business, nobody knows about you, can't hurt. So I'm just wondering about that part.
Well,
Right.
I mean,
Go ahead.
I say that I'm always accepting like applications for new children,
Okay.
and I'll let them know, hey, I'm filling my spots for fall right now.
Yeah.
And so, kind of just give them like a timeline so they know they have to get in like 6 months in advance, to try to
Okay.
get in. But I always let them know that. And what I found is the times when I haven't said I had a waiting list, I didn't get as many calls. It's like almost like a supply and demand.
Well, what you can't have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chastity, you make a great point.
I just,
Because
Yeah,
you
I
can't
have-
let the funnel get dry. Right?
exactly. But I have families that are like, do you have spots? And I'm like, well, maybe, but also maybe not. So I'm in that weird limbo where I want to set like a deadline for families, like after we meet. So I just didn't know if I should keep marketing over the summer in case, 100% of them fall through, or if it's like, no, they're probably fine. That's what I was wondering.
I
Or
think Chastity's
Keep
right.
marketing. Keep
Really? Okay.
going, Keep
And
going.
seriously, if they haven't turned in paperwork, they don't have a spot.
That's right.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. And I have so anyway, so I'm just now, I thought this would all happen in June and it's happening now. So I'm like, okay. Thank you.
One of the things that Chastity said was really, really important is she said, we're taking applications for fall.
That's
which
what I
says,
said.
We are so
I didn't
awesome.
say I was like,
and
yeah,
we
I
are
didn't say I had any
so
open-
that you guys better get your act together.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Okay.
or you're going to find yourself, I don't
Out
know.
of luck.
Okay.
Okay.
So it creates, because what she does with that is she creates this sense of urgency.
That's what I did. I didn't say on my thing, I didn't say I have an opening. I said now accepting applications for August 2022.
Mhm.
So
We're
Perfect.
talking about 5 words, right? We're talking about
okay,
of how that got presented. One sounded needy.
you know, I
and
know.
one
I only wanted
sounded,
4. Okay.
hey, this is the place, people. You better
Okay.
fight for your spot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right?
All right.
Mhm.
Okay. So keep advertising. Ooh, okay. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions, guys? Comments, thoughts? I took more time than I was supposed to. I always take more time than I'm supposed to, Dawn. I'm sorry.
It's okay, Nancy. I just pivot.
As yet, we all do. Right? Oh, so you guys know how to make appointments. Okay.
Yeah.
Be more than happy to help you. You have a team behind you. Do not forget that. Just be, it makes you feel better if you pay taxes on April 15th. This is what you get. Okay, all this consulting, take advantage of it. It was really nice to meet all of you, and you do an important role. You have an important job.
Yeah.
Do it well.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you so much, Nancy. We really appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So didn't I tell you you were going to enjoy that? Pretty awesome, right? And seriously, you've got her contact information. You get to connect with Nancy anytime to have a conversation with her about what you're stuck on or what you're wondering or what you're struggling with, right? So the early childhood industry in Colorado has a lot of supports in place. You've got your coaches. Hi, Megan. Right? You've got people to connect with that are going to provide you supports there. But when you're struggling with a business issue, I want you to stop and put on that business hat instead, right? Shift perspectives and stop and think like, okay, who's going to help me with this issue? What does this issue boil down to? Is it a bookkeeping issue? Is it marketing? What is it, right? SBDCs are here to help you in those moments. So do not struggle with that alone. Know that those are free services for you and you have resources that you can tap into. And you may not do it for 3 years and then suddenly you're like, oh, how do I deal with this, right? You have that resource to go to. So don't ever forget that, okay? Okay, so let's talk a little more about marketing. Let's see here. I want to talk about, I'm going to skip most of these. You can see the slide deck that I have available. Rich, this one's for you. A good website, logically organized, clear navigation menus, really good information without being cluttered. Cute kids, right? Cute kids always matter. Do not put pictures of your kids in your program on your website without parental permission, right? Just always emphasizing that for you. Let's see here. Most important information comes first. What do families want to see? It's got to be aesthetically pleasing, right? When we saw the differences between those two flyers, one of those flyers that was kind of like, and the other made you feel something, right? And easy to take action. You always want something that said like, here, inquire now, right? And make sure that you're proud of it and it represents your brand and you well. So staff is like a really big thing because they are a part of your marketing team. So do you have things laid out so that your staff knows exactly what to say when they answer the phone? Because if they don't, they better not be touching your phone, right? Because if they give some kind of curt response or they just don't know and don't respond well, you may have just lost a potential customer. So really think about how to train them. When you're doing tours of the facility, now that we're going to get past some of this COVID stuff, when you have families come through, do your staff know what to do and how to act in that classroom, how to interact with the person that's receiving a tour? You want to plan and prepare for all of those things so that they're aware of what to do. You have to make sure you're building. It's just like selling a house, right? Curb appeal. Make sure your building looks good all the time. And make sure that you don't have clutter everywhere. Because if your office door is open and there's papers falling off the desk and that sort of thing, they're gonna be like, oh no, like there will be personalities that go, not coming here. They're gonna lose me, they're gonna lose my kid, forget it, right? So don't have the clutter there. And like you said, Valerie, like you've got to make sure that the kids don't have toys everywhere because they're overstimulated, right? All of that matters. So think about a parent, think like a parent. What matters to you? And make sure that that's represented well in your environment. Do you track your calls? Are you reaching out when you have openings? Right now, like it's easy to give families right now if you have staff, right? If you have staff, you could do that. Make sure you're rewarding your staff if they bring you customers or staff members to hire, right? Something to think about. And really, credentials are the key today to hiring any person you want. Things have really shifted in our industry to where years ago, when they implemented Colorado Shines and I was a licensing specialist, I kept hearing, I can't hire the person I want in the classroom. They're making me hire these people that meet all these specific qualifications and stuff. Those days are gone. You guys get to hire the exact personality that you want in the classroom. And so you need to think about how you're marketing for your staff right now, because everybody under the sun is out there marketing for early childhood professionals, early childhood teachers, all of that, right? And they're not getting hardly anything back in applications. And then if anyone shows up for an interview, they're very fortunate. So you need to think about, what does the general population, that unqualified person out there that maybe thinks they want to work at a child care center, what do they think that job would look like, and what would it be called? Being called an early childhood professional is probably pretty intimidating for that person, right? They may pass on that. It's sad to say, but if you love children and love babysitting and doing all of that sort of stuff, I know I said the B word, right? But those are the people sitting there going, maybe I could do that job, right? So think from that perspective when you're drawing out your job descriptions and encouraging people to apply. You really do have to shift it. And then any person under the sun can be qualified in 1 month's time. That's all it takes to become an early childhood teacher right now. 1 month. Does everybody know that, or is anybody unsure about that?
Okay, say that again in English.
Yeah, help. Yeah.
You didn't get it either, did you, Valerie? It went
No.
over her head. Say that one more time.
So, which the credential parts, like being qualified, so you will qualify, like you can hire any staff member. So Tess, that's not going to apply to you, right?
Oh, hell no, it's not going to apply to me.
You're going to want a credential for a different reason. So we'll talk about that in a second, okay? Because even if you're not going to have staff, you're still going to want to apply for your credentials. So don't let me forget to come back to that, because it's pretty important right now. But if you have a center, you can hire any person and have them as the lead in your classroom within 1 month's time. Because with this chart for credential, you need 2 components, 2 out of the 4 that are listed here, right? And you need 21 points. So they have not set a minimum amount of time to trigger this experience category. So 1 month of experience in a classroom and submitting for the credential with 21 hours of PDIS training will qualify that staff as an ECT. So you said, right? This is like the great secret out there. I keep trying to tell people, you've got to know this. And if they have any kind of formal education at all, or they've taken Pyramid or EQUIT at all, then that counts as points in that section. So if they have an unrelated associate's degree, Boom, that's one section there. And then you give them PDIS trainings and they're qualified with 0 experience. It is a completely different way of thinking about things, but I need you to understand if you do that, you have got to support your staff, right? You are going to have to help them learn skills to really, really become very qualified at the work that they're doing, right? Don't throw them in there and think that they're gonna stay with you for 10 years because you said, sink or swim, have a great time, and you walk out, right? Like, don't do that to them. Get them, you've got a ton of resources right now, a ton of scholarship money and different things that you can apply to help them to do. They can go do 101 and 103 for free, right? They could already be qualified and go do that to learn what they need to learn, to be able to stand in that classroom with confidence. Questions about that?
I have a question about, sorry, I just realized my name has been Skeletor this entire time and my real name is not Skeletor. So I apologize.
It's all right.
I just changed
Okay,
it.
we know you're Batwoman in disguise. It's okay.
Yeah. I do have a question because I am applying to get licensed and I know that I have to take the pre-licensing test and exam, but they sent me this massive book and it's a little intimidating. And I just wondered, like, because most of you are licensed or licensed, is that test as intimidating as I think it is?
Oh, are you doing pre-licensing through a vendor?
It's through Wildwood. I don't know, Wildwood.
But they're not supposed to be using that process anymore. I know the test that you're talking about.
You don't get tested, Christina, to be a childcare provider.
Hey, hang on, Tess. Stacy, do you know what the date was for the pre-licensing stuff when they started? Let's see here. Look, there is a new training guide and a new training thing from the state. And their book as trainers is this thick, right? But they will walk you through the modules on how to become a home provider. But it's very specific curriculum, finally, which is a good thing. So if it, like, did any part of it look like this?
I know what she's talking about because I have it.
It's the old one, right?
I ordered it right after we did our training with you, when Amber and I did our training with you. It's a binder that's about that thick. I ordered it.
It's their old one, right?
I think so, yeah. Because we did our training with you 2 years ago. I mean, I can run down and get it.
No, it's the old one.
But you had to score an 88 or higher on it to pass. And it was definitely one of those deals of where it was, here's the book, read it, take a multiple test question.
Okay, it's multiple choice, because like so much of the stuff that is written in there is pretty, like, I don't know, if you take care of children and you love children, it's pretty, I don't know, it doesn't seem difficult, but then I'm like, am I going to have to write like small essays about what I would do? I don't know. Anyway, just.
Well, and I thought the state was past the pilot part of it and that all vendors were now having to utilize the new training. So the fact that so when did they send that to you? How long ago was it?
Not long ago. It's been like 6 weeks. Yeah. So I imagine it is the new one.
A year with them. If they're doing the same process, but let's say with new material, you have a year with them, but I would reach out and ask, you know what? They're my free program. I can call and inquire just because I'm my president.
Well, here's the thing, like no vendor out there gets to pick like this different kind of testing process or anything. They just don't. They have to follow the new state process.
Yeah, we've been pushing for them to have the vendors use the same thing.
Hold on, Stacy, hold on. I'm gonna reach out to someone at the state and I'll bring information back for you next week. Okay, Christina, is that soon enough?
Thanks.
Or
yeah, that's fine.
okay,
I don't plan on
perfect.
like yeah, slowly getting there, but want
Yeah.
to take advantage of some of the grants and stuff for the fall. So
Yeah, so let me check with the state on that, because I thought that that was already in place, and so it's a little bit alarming that
What
some.
test is
Who's
she
your
talking about?
counsel?
She's got to pass.
So she took it, she was signing up for pre-licensing through Wildwood, which has, they would send out a book of information and then to have you come in and pass a test in order to show that you did the reading and learning for that pre-licensing class. So that's kind of the process they've always used, but I was under the impression we couldn't use that kind of process anymore. So let me find out and I'll bring you information back next week.
yeah, it says like when you sign up, it says, and on the book, actually, it says that it's like 15 hours of coursework, like reading and stuff, which is fine. But just seeing the book, I was kind of like, whoa, how hard is this test? So I don't know. Any help would be great.
Yeah, I've seen the test before. It's not that hard. Who is your counsel that you would be going through?
I've just been doing it through the Colorado Child Care, and then they recommended Wildwood. So I don't know.
But your
Okay.
counsel should be offering.
Well,
pre-licensing
no,
classes.
I'm
not
not-
necessarily.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
some
I
of them
just
are, but-
applied. Yeah, and I just applied for licensing like 6 weeks ago, and I haven't even been given someone to work with yet because they're just so backlogged, I guess. Which, yeah.
So I wanted to quickly, so I'll get back with you, Christina, on that.
Thanks.
I wanted to make sure that everybody here, hang on, Rich, everybody here knows that you really want your staff to apply for an early childhood credential, whether they're already qualified another way or not. Because right now, 1010 is working its way through the legislature and it's going into the Senate, and it's a tax credit for your workforce. So they will receive $750, $1,000, or $1,500 depending on their credential level once this passes. And the legislature is very enthusiastic about this. So you want to make sure that they have that opportunity. So if they haven't done the credential yet, you want them to apply. Home providers, you're not used to credentials, but guess what? You want to go in and apply for the credential in PDIS so that you can have that tax credit too. What's up, Rich? How can I help? Oh, you're muted.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay,
Absolutely.
perfect. So picking back off what Christina was saying, I haven't been through licensing since 2020, but has that process changed? Do you have to do a testing? Is that what I'm understanding, or is this for home centers?
No, Rich, you're so that's one vendor's approach to pre-licensing for homes.
Okay.
So you're in a center, and so you don't have any of that stuff to deal with. This is their attempt to provide supports to homes to help them get licensed. So
Gotcha.
they have a 15-hour pre-licensing training that they have to take. So that's what that's about. Guys, we are at 8:14, so I want you to have a chance to get together in your classrooms and talk through the marketing stuff, right? Talk through what was that aha thing, or what's the thing that you need to work on. So we're going to send you to your group. It's only going to be for 10 minutes, but then we'll come back and wrap up, and that'll be that. Grab me if you need me. Hey, so the great news is you guys got to talk about that a little bit. The really good news is you have an entire week to figure out something in your marketing strategy that you're going to fix, right? So really think about that and figure out what you're going to apply to make a difference in your business this week, okay? So we are going to have Megan from ECPAC talk to you guys real quickly about Bridge Care, that software system that she mentioned last week. So you're on, Megan, go for it.
Thank you. So it just is really great. And especially like Courtney, when you're talking about a wait list, this is such a great platform. So every early childhood council, I believe even Denver just signed on to it. So most counties, most major counties all have purchase this software. And so what it is we paid for it so then our providers can use it for free. And so it is a way for you to give real-time data if you have availability or openings in your program. So we have, as a council, we have lots of families calling us and asking us if we can help them find care. And so this platform is great because you can either have openings, and it's a great way for families to find you right away, or if you don't have openings, families can find you and you can add them to your wait list on here. So if it's okay, may I share my screen, Hannah?
Yes. Oh, do you not have, does it not?
Nope, I'm going to do it if that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a general layout of the platform. So every county's colors look different, but this is Adams County. And so this as a parent comes to it. They can search by, do you want the care to be by your home, by your work, by a zip code, maybe on your commute? So I'll just put an address in Adams County. And so then I'm going to say, how am I getting there? Am I driving, walking, using public transit, or biking? I'm going to say driving. And then I can say the amount of children. So I have one infant. I have to move the screen. I have one infant, maybe I have a preschooler too. And so I'm going to click done and submit. And it finds all family childcare homes and childcare centers that have their license for either an infant or a preschooler. And then going from there, it searches even more. So you can say, only show me people that have availability. You can say, I really want someone that has a level 3, or it's not important to me, I'm going to leave it blank. I can say I need full-time, part-time, maybe just summer care. I want open holidays or evening care. You can search by in-home base or center base specifically. You can search by days of the week that they're open. You can search then more filters. So every county is a little bit different what your more filters are, but ours say like we need a specific immersion language or a specific spoken language. Do they offer potty training support? And so just lots of different filters so families can find you without having to call. And then this is a sample childcare, but this is our one we did, and you can go in and it takes all the information from Colorado Shines, just what your licensing says. So the ages you have, the programs you offer, if you're open, when you're open, your hours of operation. So that's all I have on here right now, but you can go in and make it really, you can beef up the profile. So then they can have pictures, and we'll go back to one. It's just a sample one, but they went in and put some pictures about their program, more contact information, their Colorado Shines rating is there, the program offered and what the rate is, what financial program. So it's just very thorough so that families can find you and see if you meet what their needs are. And then one great thing, and I'm going to show you just from the provider end. Did it pop up to the other one, Hannah, or can you still just see the other screen?
We see the showcase and market your license childcare. I think it's the one you're wanting to share.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so as a provider, your council will give you the link to go to, but I just used my email that's associated with my license. And so then I get an email that says, great, we recognized your email, you can log in. And so then we come and log in. And this is what you see. So now this is my center that I'm associated with, and I can edit my profile or I can update my availability. And what we're asking is just one time you edit your profile. And so that's where you go in. I already know what programs I have because of my license, but I can add photos. I can do a video tour. I can do more description. I can have contact information. So maybe you're too busy to answer the phone. You can also say, send me an email if you're interested. Tour requests, so you can start getting, it won't set up a tour for you, but you can say when you're available for tours and families can see if they're interested in it. So just lots of information on here to help you market your program. And then we're going to go back to the main page. And so update availability. So this is what you're going to do every week. Unless you have available, unless it doesn't change or if it changes more often, but say I know that I have 3 infant positions, I can add that opening right here. And if I go into the profile, I can say when the program is to the infants, and maybe I don't have it till my wait list is, I know that I'm going to have one August 22nd. And so then I can put that, or 2022. So I can put that in there right there, what ages I do. So it's just a really great way for parents to see real-time data if you have availability, and then you also to bring awareness to everyone. You're already on there. Everyone's on there from licensing that's associated that has a license, but you can go on and beef it up so that when they go into it, they can already find out about you. And then maybe you don't have to get as many phone calls if phone calls are really hard for you during the day. But that's just very quickly. And so I will also go into the chat and put in who you can contact with your council if you want more information.
So it's what PBIS was supposed to be, but hasn't managed to become yet. So there you go. They're working on it still. Okay, we are past time. Hannah, do you have anything to share with everyone?
Just really quickly, we like to do a class contact sheet so you can all stay connected after the class ends and keep those supports. So if that's something you don't feel comfortable with, though, please reply to my email. I'll send out the summary email tomorrow that has a summary of what we talked about tonight. And that's totally okay if you don't want your email shared in that class contact sheet. But if you don't let me know, if you don't opt out, you'll be included. So just keep an eye out for that. And that's all I had.
Great, you guys. So don't forget to do your homework. Fix something in marketing. Just try it, right? Give it your best shot, and we'll see you back here next week. Have a good night.